When this episode comes out, we'll be getting set up for Toe Tapping Tuesdays.
Yeah, yep. That's gonna be a fun gig. And I love playing over there at the Wheeling Ice Rink.
We're at the Wheeling Ice Rink.
Yes, of course, yes. We got that confirmed today.
And then Friday, we're at Powhatan.
Yeah, Riverside, Powhatan. Yeah, Riverside. Oh, now they haven't done music in a long time, actually.
I think they have a new owner.
New owner.
Really excited about music.
Frizzy is his name.
Derek Frizzy.
And so yeah, and I have a friend that bartends there, so hopefully everybody comes along.
Oh yeah. Brandon Wills was a bartender there at one point, and I saw him on one of those water jet packs. You know, where they have the hose that goes down. Yeah, he's shooting up.
Oh
He
man.
moved to Myrtle Beach, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Listen, I would love to do one, but I'd know I'd face plant.
As soon as that water goes forward and you start going, can you imagine playing there and you see behind us somebody coming out with a jet stream?
It happened. It actually happened before. A couple years ago when I was opening up there was a band that used to play around here called Township Road.
Okay,
Doug
yeah.
Doug worked with, and he was on, I believe, one of the last podcasts. And so we were setting up, and there was some guy connected to a boat with the water was coming out of the bottom of his feet, flying all over the place. And it was, I mean, we stopped and watched him for about 20 minutes. It was fun.
Yeah, how long? I don't know. How long would it take for somebody to get proficient at that? Because
Yeah,
you
I
can
don't
see
know.
people that can do tricks and stuff, but I guess it's like anything else. Like, yeah, it's just, I'm sure you eat a lot of water.
Yeah. I one Christmas I bought my brother, they were called kangaroo shoes.
Oh,
And basically it was painter stilts with a bunch of springs inside. And he wanted nothing to do with it, and I tried it, and I fell hard a lot of times. I'm like, the amount of falls and the amount of time I would need to get proficient to do backflips, I gave up on it. I have a video where I was going like almost 20 mile an hour running, just bouncing and sprinting. So we have singer-songwriter Gage Joseph in the studio with us.
Howdy, howdy.
He's been taking over Valley music scene for, when did you start?
Well, I had my first gig in a bar when I was 14. Yeah,
What bar was that?
I cannot remember. I've played pretty much every single bar in the Valley 10 times over at this point. So,
yeah. So you said your first gig was 14. When did you pick up the guitar? When did you get the bug? When did you start really practicing, taking lessons, or are you self-taught? Give us a little background on how you got to where you're at.
Yeah, so I started actually doing the Pike Idol karaoke competition up in the Highlands, Triadelphia, and I did that for 2 years. And he's one of my great friends, and he taught me my first couple lessons on guitar. Shannon Canterbury, who also plays around here.
Yeah.
He said, well, you should try picking up the guitar because you can start playing gigs. You can start, backing yourself, and you don't have to do karaoke anymore. And I said, yeah. So he came over to my house, and I think I had 2 lessons with him. And he taught me, my first song I ever learned was "Broken Halos" by Chris Stapleton.
Okay.
And then he
You
said,
usually warm up with that song.
"That is my sound check song."
Yeah.
And it's always my sound check song. And then he's like, "Let's get something a little bit more difficult." But and now it's one of my favorite songs as well. It was "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd.
Nice.
And so I learned those 2 songs, and after that, from that point on, it was really self-taught. Of course, I used some of the online, help, of course,
Right,
YouTube and certain apps that help you learn, and then I just started playing out 14 up to present day. So,
Was there any nerves at first, like your first show?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I tell you what, I think I remember when my first show was. It wasn't necessarily a show as much as I was sitting in.
Mm-hmm.
I got up on, it was at the Central Grill in Shadyside.
Okay.
I got up and I played Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash, and I was shaking in my boots when I was singing that. So
That was like my first time. It was with old buddy Jack at the Barton Trap, and it was like once I got done, I understood what it felt like, and then after that, like that was the only show I really had like butterflies in my stomach.
And
yeah,
I same. Like I'd played in. I I didn't play. I sang in a couple of bands, and I kind of got the jitters. The first time where I really got just stomach and knots, just nervous, and it's funny when I think about it now, was uh, my dad's a musician. We've had music in our house the entire time, and uh, he and one of his good friends in the '60s had like a folk music band, which was big in the '60s,
Hmm.
but they were trying to just do like a folk band, and they asked me to play bass, and we're playing actually we were playing a Legion. I
Oh yeah,
couldn't eat. I like for folk music, and but like you said, once like you got that, like that was the first time me playing an instrument like in front of people, and we did. It was a max crowd of like three, and that was my mom, her best friend, and her best friend's mom. So yeah, I could see why I was nervous, but
those starting gigs are rough.
yeah.
yeah.
The first year, maybe 2 years that you're playing out when you're trying to build something up, it gets rough sometimes.
And then the other thing is too is like I we played first time I played with Matt was Blame My Roots. So when you're playing with somebody else, you're nervous, and if I play with anybody else, and in all honesty, to be truthful, I was really really nervous to play in front of him. It's just like I said, he's fantastic on there, and I was just like, you can't mess this up, you can't mess this up. And I went from just grooving because I knew the songs to like I was locked in on the iPad, like I didn't want to miss, and I was so robotic. But yeah, now it's fun. It's just a blast. We jam, and
I
yeah,
remember you sent me pictures from the hospital. You had that little
that little
practice.
U bass.
Yeah, he was practicing the songs on his downtime.
Yeah, a friend of ours, Kevin Dennis. He's in the Valley. He's been in music for years. He's all tied up with the Fort and
Yeah.
Tuesday or First Fridays in Steubenville. He had it. He brought it out, and he let me borrow it. It was great to practice because that thing has. I don't know if you've ever seen those little U basses like a ukulele, but it's just
Yeah, well, you know what? I've heard of them, and I think I've seen a couple
they've got a
times.
great sound. They're ridiculously expensive. They're
Yeah.
like $400, but it was great to like take to the like. I'd have time and I'd practice, and it was just. But yeah, like I get it. That those first couple times, and like I said, if I play with somebody or I fill in, I'm nervous just because you got that. Like I
Yeah.
definitely don't want to make somebody else look bad because I'm screwing up. But um, yeah, I've been able to hold my own. So yeah.
So, how long did you play solo gigs until you got hooked up with a full band? Because like once you get that down, like just your solo act, playing with other musicians, that's just like just a whole bunch of nerves in itself.
Yeah,
'Cause with other professionals.
100%. So 17, I think, was my
Okay, so
first.
like 2 or 3 years in.
Yeah. And I was very fortunate that a friend of mine, Tim Ullum, which
Okay, yeah.
I mean, it's basically his band. When he stepped down and decided to spend more time with his family,
Hmm.
John Banco got a hold of me and said, "Hey, we have a band here. They don't have a singer." So he's
Right.
like, you want to step in?" And I said, "Of course." I said, they already do most of the songs you do. They were a country
Yeah.
band, so they know most of the stuff. And so it was a perfect fit. And all the guys we got right now, I mean, and according, of course, you, Razor,
Hmm.
over
Oh
there on
yeah.
the Les Paul. And but no, yeah, it's a whole different atmosphere though, and it requires a lot of different types of preparation than if you were just playing
Yeah.
acoustic.
Right.
Like learning that pocket. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That's the first time like you hear those terms like pocket, just like I can't play. Like if you're used to playing like low open chords, if you have a bass player that's playing low chords, that doesn't mesh well. So you have to figure out where am I, like where on the frequency can I stay to fill out that sound to get the
Yeah.
whole band sound.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. It's a different animal. Just because if you got a mesh, and like I said, you have one person in that group that just doesn't. It throws everything off. So
Yeah.
that's
And that makes sense with the whole me and you right now, we were both playing Les Pauls.
Right.
I
Yeah.
think they were clashing when we were
yeah.
playing. Now I'm trying to
Mhm.
switch over to a Telly, so hopefully
Yeah.
that might
Nice.
brighten stuff up.
It wasn't so much of just like we were playing our own like different pockets,
Mhm.
but just like that sound, that crunchy Les Paul sound
Yep.
wasn't bad, but you could what we were talking about, like going if we do the Les Paul Telecaster combo, I think that
We'll
really
be able to cover a lot more. That's for sure.
mhm.
So
Especially on like the Brad Paisley, like the G Bender style solos, just to have that twangy
Mhm.
but a little bit clean, little bit distorted sound.
I plugged the Telly into the into my stuff the other day, and I ran through that solo, and I was comparing it between the Les Paul, and I was like, oh, it just sounds right for it.
Yeah.
You can't mimic what Telecasters can do.
Mhm.
So that actually bleeds into one
Yeah,
of our Ask the Ohio Valley
we had that
questions.
Ask the
We
Ohio-
got Eric from Wintersville asked if you had to choose between, his question was between a Les Paul and a Strat, or you can say a Telly, which one would you choose and why?
Mhm.
So you guys are the six stringer, so discuss.
I think well, like with the question between like Telecaster or Strat, it really depends on what kind of music you're playing. Like,
Mhm.
or the Les Paul and the Strat, that'd be more for like rock. But the difference between like Les Paul and Telecaster, I think, with like country, it's great to have both.
Oh yes, of course.
But if you would have to have one style guitar in the band, if there was only one guitar player, where would you go with?
Telly.
Telly.
I think that the Telecaster is the Swiss Army knife of guitars.
Yeah.
It can cover a lot of different sounds. You can get rock sounds, you can get country sounds, you can get bluesy sounds, you can
Yeah.
get, all the above, and that's why I think they're great guitars. And
Yeah.
but if I did have to pick between a Strat and a Les Paul, I would go with the Les Paul.
Right.
So it's just all situational, I guess. So
There's been a lot of shows lately after the 3 hours. I'm thinking, man, this Les Paul would be a lot nicer if it was a lighter SG on my back.
That's good. So yeah, thanks Eric from Wintersville
thanks
for that question. That's good. And like always, any of our listeners, send us messages on questions you want us to ask. And
Also had some questions here from some viewers.
Okay.
If you want to tackle one or two, here's a good one because I always ask this to people, not so much to deal with music, but to deal with the Ohio Valley. So you just got done with a show.
Mhm.
It might be midnight, 1 a.m. Where is your go-to late night spot that you're going to get food after a show? Doesn't matter where you get done playing, but if you had to choose, like if you could get there right after a show, where would you go?
So the people that run around with me, my family and Doug and everybody, they know that if I'm going anywhere, it's got to be Sheets.
Sheets, yeah.
I don't know what it is about their MTO food.
Yeah.
But their cheese curds are just a 15 out of 10, and their hot chicken bites are just a 25 out of 10. And I can't get enough of them, and I'll die on that mountain. But if it's gonna be an Ohio Valley place, I love Pickles down there.
Pickles.
Yes.
It's on National Road, right? I do believe.
it's right off. It's off a national road.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's Oh man.
Amazing wings down there.
We've gone there a number of times, and we're big fans of pickles. I've never had anything where I was like, I might not have that again. But yeah, pickles is fantastic. What about you?
If I'm going with food, I would definitely say Sheets if we're doing corporate because yeah, the MTO food. If you
Yeah.
get cheeseburger with light Dr. Pepper barbecue sauce,
Mm.
you cannot beat it.
Really?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Dr.
man.
Pepper barbecue
I've
sauce. I'm
never
telling
tried
you.
that.
I've seen it,
telling
but
you.
I'm just like,
Good, yeah, do
nah.
it. Late somebody that's open late night. If I want to see some scenes as well, I'll go to the Huddle House late at night in Moundsville.
There you go.
You can see some interesting characters, interesting scenes if you go there late night.
There you go.
Yeah, it's listen, like you said, you can't go wrong with Sheets. Like I said, I don't know what it is, man. They nail it for stuff like that. But Ohio Valley, I don't know. And the bad thing is ever since COVID, a lot of 24-hour places
Right, yeah.
are gone. But I'd have to be someplace that I could get breakfast. I don't know what it is with. So I'd either say like a Denny's or an Eaton Park or
Yeah.
yeah, it's always breakfast
Mm.
after a certain late show. But
Then we go to Denny's after one. We played somewhere on Route 40. We went to Denny's afterwards, and they just didn't have anything on the
oh
menu for
yeah,
it. It was they were
we were like, hey, we want to. Oh no, we don't have that. Well, what
yeah.
about this? Oh, we're out of that. What about the? Okay, let's narrow this down. What do you have?
Yeah.
We got eggs, toast, and like 6 strips of bacon. So yeah,
All right.
but the thing was, is we had a blast.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, I don't think I laughed that hard in a long time.
I think that was after a lumberjack show.
I think it was.
And you recently played at Lumberjacks.
Yes.
They got a new stage, new bar.
They rearranged the entire place. So the bar is like directly in front of you. Walk in the door, the bar is right in front of your face, and you look to the right. The stage is there, and the stage shoots down the hallway where all the axe throwing tunnels,
Oh,
I guess, are.
so it starts where they had that camper,
Yeah,
and then it goes down.
pretty much.
Okay, down the side.
Pretty much,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And it's nice, and you know what? I think it sets it up better to get sound to the entire venue. How
Yeah.
they had it before, it was just, you got blocked by the wall, by the
Yeah.
corner. So
Yeah, there was definitely a spot when you go down like the axe lane. There was a spot you could tell everything died.
oh yeah,
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, because we've had people come out to see us, and they go down and do the axe throwing, and then they come back and they're like, "Oh, you guys started." We're like, "We're on our first break." It was
Yeah.
like, they were like, "We didn't hear anything." So, it goes back to that when we were talking to Tim and Doug, like louder is not better, especially in that venue, because it would have
Right.
sounded
Yeah.
it would have sounded terrible.
I mean, too, it really depends on like the type of material in the building or in the stage too. Because if
Oh
you go
yeah.
too loud on like an aluminum stage,
oh rattles.
if like you're playing a lot, like your mids are real high, it
Mhm.
rattles so bad.
Yeah.
Mhm. I tend to. My parents might be upset with me about this, but I tend to turn up the amp a little too loud when I'm practicing at home. And we have old hardwood floors, and the creaking and all the above when the amp is shaking the floor.
Yeah.
And they're like, you got to turn that thing down. So I ended up buying a modeler, which is what I use basically now full time.
Uh-huh.
I just use the amp kind of as a clean PA almost,
Right.
but I can plug straight into it with a headphone,
Hmm.
and I can practice right in my own ears, and it's good for actually helping to play with in ears when you're playing with the band. I usually play with in ears when I have the band out, so good practice for that because it's different than hearing a floor wedge.
Oh
Yeah.
It's so different.
Yeah.
when I was playing drums, when I finally got in ears, what a difference for a drummer. It just wow, it was okay because there was a lot of times like like especially as a drummer and a singer,
Hmm.
if you put a monitor, it had to be just the stars had to align just because if not, oh, it never failed. You get feedback. As soon as I got those in ears, oh man, I love them. Absolutely love them. Big fan.
The only thing about in ears that you can't do that cool step on the monitor. Like a lot of rock shows, like the singers will go up and put their foot up on the monitor and like down. That's a classic move.
You gotta have yourself a fake monitor.
That's it.
Fake monitor.
Just a wooden box and paint it all up.
But then too, with like floor monitors, I've had one or two times where I've had a monitor engineer mess up and it snap on me, and I could tell it's done permanent damage in my eardrums. Like
Oh yeah.
I get like there was one specific time I remember. I'm not going to say where we played or who it was, but those monitors snapped on me, and I can tell I started to get a little tinnitus
Mhm.
after that night. Like when I'm trying to go to sleep at night, I hear a little dog whistle
Mhm.
in my right ear. I'm like, yeah, you son of a bitch, I remember you.
Yeah, it's not that tinnitus sucks.
Yeah.
It's just mine unfortunately wasn't because of loud music or monitor snapping, but yeah, that constant tinnitus is just it messes you up.
I don't think I have tinnitus as bad as for some reason when we start playing and it's only my right ear, it throbs
Really?
when I play,
Hmm.
and it's like it almost feels like it's shaking inside my head. I don't know what exactly that is. That's actually half the reason I switched to in-ears because I figured I might want to try to save
Mhm.
my hearing while I have it. So,
Right, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So
So, so where off the top of your head, and not to call anybody out, and you don't even have to answer it. Where as my voice cracks. Um, where was the one place that you played that you had a blast? I mean, stars lined up, everything went perfect, and it was just fun.
Ogilvy Fest every single year.
Really?
Ogilvy
Every
Fest.
single year.
Yeah.
Ogilvy Fest. I've been very fortunate, and were you with us the second year? I think.
Would
Or were you with us both years?
that be Oktoberfest?
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
was this past one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first year and the second year, the first year, I always say that's my biggest gig every year,
Mhm.
because I've been very fortunate to be able to play it and end the show on Saturday night for the past 2 years. I've been very fortunate, and as a band, we've been very fortunate. Um, and thanks to John Banco for that, of course. But first year, guesstimation 15 to 1,700 people. I mean, that's
Yeah.
for around here. That is a massive show.
Yeah,
That is a massive
it
show.
is.
And it feels like you're playing to a full stadium.
When there's a shows where it's like you like classify as a sea of people. When
Yeah.
you get a sea, and that is a sea of people. You can't see
Yeah.
the end, and
Yeah.
That's
And
fun.
it's one of those shows that really is like, well, this not necessarily, you do it for the love of music, but when you see this, you're like, man, this is really what, like, this
Yeah.
is everything. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And then the second year rolled around, and we got better numbers. I think they estimated in and out 2,500 people.
Yeah.
And you couldn't see the end to how many people were standing down there. And I was like, wow, this is great.
And it's not like one of those shows where like the start of the crowd is maybe like 20 feet back. They just kept coming closer and
Oh, yeah.
closer.
They were coming closer in sound check.
A little bit too close. I remember I suggested to Michael, I'm like, you need like a buffet guard because the amount of like beer like getting thrown around is getting
There
on-
was this one girl that kept like saying, "Give me your phone, give me your phone." She put a number in my phone. I was on stage.
Nice.
I was like, all right then. You know what? That ain't half bad. So I don't know. We might have to keep the guardrail away for a little while.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah. I don't want to have to jump to get to my phone.
Yeah, it was talking about people handing or throwing stuff on stage. Again, playing with my dad's band, they all decided to get together. Like my dad's band everybody was, 68, 69 or older. I was the youngest one. So they decided to have somebody throw a pair of underwear up at me, but they went out and got these underwear that they were like this wide.
There you go.
So it was just it's great to play the jokes, but
A great thing about that Oktoberfest too is like after you're on stage for that first set, you're underneath all the light, it gets so hot. It's that time of year where you go, outside that building, you just immediately get cooled off. It's so
There you
nice.
go.
Real nice and cool.
But you know what? It's an average set. 3 hours is about normal.
Yeah.
But I tend to, I didn't do it last year. I didn't take a break. I usually let, the guys can.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Wyatt and I, we do a lot of Wyatt Kid
Yeah,
plays the
shout
fiddle.
out to Wyatt.
Shout out to Wyatt. Might have to get him on one time. But
Oh, yeah.
he plays an amazing fiddle, plays an amazing guitar, and he plays an amazing banjo. And I don't know what he doesn't play, but I'm sure it's amazing, whatever it is. We do acoustic sets. That's kind of the main thing
Yeah.
right now. So we play acoustic sets. I mean, maybe some songs that we haven't learned with the band
Right.
that I know people like, and it's always fun. But maybe I should have took a break because towards the end I lost my voice.
Yeah.
If you don't remember that, I started
Yeah.
singing, and what's going on here?
yeah.
So I ate a couple of potato chips in the salt.
Okay.
It helps you out. It helps you out.
Yeah, you got to, especially like that, even if it's 10 minutes, just get off, get something to drink and, reset for a second or,
What I was worried about was losing the energy, losing the crowd and all that.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was worried about. That's the biggest fear when you're at any show, I guess. So
Today's podcast is brought to you by our local sponsor at Vargo's Cargo Moving Services. If you're going to be moving into a new home soon, if you're going to be moving to the big city, or if you're tired of the big city, you're coming home, give Vargo a shout out. Vargo has been helping countless Ohio Valleyans with their moving jobs and while saving them thousands in costs. It also doesn't hurt that he's a former NCAA football lineman. So if you're planning a move and need some extra help, give Vargo a shout out. Again, that is Vargo's Cargo Moving Services. And now back to the podcast. So you want to do another Ask the Ohio Valley question?
Yeah, absolutely.
All
let's
right.
let's see what
Let's pick Gage's brain a little bit.
let's see what Mr. Joseph has to say on some things.
So, Gage, if you had to pick one country artist in any point in history to record a duet with, who would it be?
Ooh, that's almost an impossible question.
This is a question sent in by Kyle from Shadyside.
Kyle from Shadyside.
Thank you for the question.
Well, Kyle, you're really diving into the brain tonight, I guess. Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton. So my grandfather looks a lot like Kenny Rogers. When he grows his beard out, he looks a lot like Kenny Rogers. So there was a thing going around on TikTok where you would age somebody artificially or whatever, and see what they look like. So when I aged myself, I looked like Kenny Rogers almost. I was like, oh yeah, no way. So I would do that. I would do Dolly Parton. I'd do Islands in the Stream. Do that.
Oh, you got artist and song.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I couldn't do with I've never really sang ever. My voice doesn't really change pitch. So I would have to go with Brian Johnson, AC/DC. That way I wouldn't have to matter what any kind of key I'm in. I'll just get that rattly.
But wasn't the question was for country artist?
Oh, that is right, a country artist.
I mean, you and Brian Johnson could do Ring of Fire or something. I mean, you probably could tweak it to make it a country song, but
I would do it with Jelly Roll. I'm becoming a big Jelly Roll fan lately.
Good call. Good call. Who would I do a duet with? Well, is this before I was married or now that I'm married? No, I'm just kidding.
Let's play it safe.
Wow. There's part of me, and oh God, I know I'm going to regret saying this. There's part of me that wants to say like Taylor Swift. Just because.
Is she country though?
Well, what do they want to call it? Pop country. Just because she's huge. And, but then again, like I've been a Kelly Clarkson fan. I think she's got a fantastic voice. But I probably, if I had to pick, only because I like a lot of their stuff, was Jennifer Nettles from Sugarland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, she did that, Who Says You Can't Go Home with Bon Jovi. And
oh, yeah, she did, yeah.
And then, God bless. And then, like, when they had the crossovers, like you saw Sarah Evans with Three Doors Down.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. So, I'd probably say Jennifer Nettles. I think that would be, you could kind of do country, but still something a little bit more
Jennifer
rock.
Nettles before you were married?
Oh, no, we're not. No, we're just going to let that before I got married.
Would you pick what Lainey Wilson?
It would be irrelevant, and it doesn't matter because I'm happily married, and I'm not going to discuss that. So thanks for trying to corner me.
All right. Let's do another one. How about if you could pick one current band from a genre other than country to sing for, to be a frontman for, who would it be? It's got to be current, which is the tricky thing.
Yeah, because when if I'm thinking of all time, I know a band.
Who would that be?
All time Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam. Okay, yeah.
I love Pearl Jam.
Really?
But the problem is
go full Eddie Vedder.
But I love Pearl Jam because of Eddie Vedder.
Yeah.
So if Eddie Vedder wasn't in the conversation, then I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So maybe if we could, sing together,
Yeah.
But current band, outside of country, it would be John Mayer.
John Mayer.
I love John Mayer. I love his music. And I do believe, now I might be wrong, but Tommy Emmanuel played with him on the live version of Slow Dancing in the Burning Room.
Mm-hmm.
If I could sit in with them during that song.
Yeah.
So right now you would be leading the Dead and Company since he's touring with the Dead.
Is he still doing that?
Yeah. So, no, that's wow. Who would I want to be a front man for? Oh, there's so many great options. I don't have the chops to do it, but I'd love to be standing in front of Queen.
Yeah.
Brian, Roger, John, but no, I'd probably have to say Um, I think I'd say like Matchbox 20, only because I know. Well, I used to be able to sing a lot of Rob Thomas songs, but and they're a high energy band. It would be fun. That's who I'd say right now, just off the
Yeah.
top of my head. I know when this podcast is over, I'm gonna be like, oh damn it, I should have said, but no, no, I'll say Matchbox 20.
Going back to what we said about Queen, I was recently watching videos of the Brian May band, and man, he can sing. His guitar
Yeah,
player,
yeah.
I watched him do a cover live of "Since You've Been Gone" by Rainbow on YouTube, and it was amazing. I
Really?
didn't know he had the pipes like he did.
Well, like they did all their harmonies on
Yeah,
everything and their harmonies are fantastic. And I mean, like I said, and it goes back to when we were talking to Tim and Doug, at that time, the sound engineers that they had were just pioneering stuff
oh
that was
yeah.
just,
Hmm.
and you get that kind of harmony and that sound out of that. It's just, yeah. No, I'm not. I probably would say I wouldn't be surprised that he could belt it out, but I want to definitely know. I want to see it. So
And going back to the sound engineer like being pioneers, I watched it was Steven Tyler on Howard Stern radio, and he was talking about how they recorded Sweet Emotion. And Steven was saying, like, right at the beginning, there's a shk, 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 shk. He said all that was me holding a sugar packet in front of the mic and just shaking it like a maraca.
no kidding.
And, like, nowadays you would be like, all right, what plugin is that? Like, how can, what I mean? Like, what
Right.
program can I find that on?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's amazing, but yeah, that's just it's crazy to think how far we've come. So
Speaking of recording music, how was your time in Nashville? Because you have two singles, right, that you wrote and recorded in Nashville?
Yeah, so I wrote him with a buddy of mine down there. His name's Brett Taylor, and Hammer Down and Girls Are were both written in Nashville and recorded here locally.
Oh, okay.
But no, I had a lot of fun. Nashville is a great scene. It's a great atmosphere. And then the knowledge you can learn down there is just, I mean, it's
Yeah.
endless. From little things to massive, fundamental parts of music, it's all down there. And especially like with a place like Belmont College, where people go down there to learn how to be
Right.
musicians. Um, Great example from this area, Brad Paisley.
Yeah.
He went to Belmont College, and I mean, look at him now. I mean, I'd argue to say he's one of the best guitar players of all time,
oh
Hmm.
yeah, he's
and he's
fantastic.
a pioneer of a country of some country music guitar. There's no
Yeah.
doubt. But yeah. So those songs, I love all those songs in their own ways. Of course, Girls Are recorded in Aardvark Studio in Steubenville,
Okay.
and Hammer Down, which I recorded when I was 15. Uh, Jamie Peck did that.
Okay.
I don't know where he's working now, but he did that. He has a great home studio,
Hmm.
and it was a lot of fun. But I'm currently working on a few more songs. We got some stuff stashed away. Don't know really what we want to do with it yet. I am talking with some guys in Morgantown. Try to get some gigs in Morgantown, and then there's a studio down there that I'm gonna try to release some songs that I've written myself at home and across various places in the valley. So.
That's a good idea to have songs on the back burner, decide what you want to do with them instead of being like, all right, here's a song, let's jump on recording it, push it out. And
Right.
then like later down the road, you think like maybe this isn't the best reflection of me as a singer.
Yeah. That it's always nice to have, multiple things. I have maybe two or three that are like sitting there like, maybe, maybe not. I don't know yet.
Yeah.
So
Now, when you started, because you were started out younger, did you run into any difficulties on like trying to play places because you were younger, or
so there's this bar, which I won't say the name, but they have a open mic. A lot of places have open mic nights,
Hmm.
and that's how I got my foot in the door when I was first starting, and it's how a lot of people do it.
Yeah.
Just go to open mic night, try to get booked. But I went in, and as far as I knew, that it was perfectly fine for me to be in there. Now I was 15, so I was trying to get up there, and the waitress took a look at me and said, "You're not 21, are you?" And I was like, No, I'm just here to sing. And she's like, you can't be here. I'm sorry. You got to be at least 18 to be in here tonight.
What state was that in?
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. That's I was about to say. We did a show in Pennsylvania with Matt's first version of the band, and Allie Markowitz. Shout out to Allie. She might have been 15 at the time, and we were loading all our equipment, and they were like, "She can't even walk in here because we don't really have a restaurant. It's mainly just bars, so you can't really get away with that little
Oh man.
I had to sneak into the back door of Tequila Cowboy Pittsburgh when I was opening up for a band because they didn't want to let me in the front door. So I don't know how that happens.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, there's been some troubles trying to get into places.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine. That just, I mean, good on you for just not, letting it deter you.
No, it's fun.
Yeah.
In my mind, it's fun. It's kind of like a little bit of extra stuff thrown onto the top.
Yeah, because now when they call you and say, "Hey, we want you to play here," you're like,
I don't know, man. I mean, I was up there the other night.
I was up there and you kicked me out. So
now, like businesses, when they see your name, they'll be like, "Well, he's been playing in this area for how many years? He has to be 21."
Right.
now."
Yeah. Yep.
And the good thing is like I said, you have a really big following. Like I have, I grew up in Wintersville, and I know of 10, 12 people I could rattle off the top of my head that follow you around, and a couple of them was at Doug's party that
Yes.
night, and
Yeah.
it's just that's awesome. So
Yeah, it's cool when like you hear Ohio Valley veterans be like, "Did you check out Gage's song and stuff?" They're
Yeah.
recognizing up and coming musicians.
It's a lot of fun, and I really appreciate everybody saying everything and going out to see. I've tried to build a good relationship with the guys out at CA House, T-Bone,
yeah.
Roger, all the guys out there, because I realize it's very important to have a good backing, not only just from general people, but the musicians. Period.
Yeah.
They'll help you out. They'll help you. Here's my brain hitting me. It would be Greg. You know Greg.
Right. Yeah.
When it comes to me trying to transition into playing some lead guitar, Greg has been pivotal in that. He's taught me a couple things. He's told me, like maybe you want this guitar, maybe you want this guitar, or just try this, try that. He's been great at that, and I'm very fortunate for that. When it comes to Roger, I mean, just helping with anything guitar. I mean, he's just phenomenal. I've seen him with who's the guy he plays with?
Dan Jones.
Yes, yeah, Horden Jones. There we go.
Gordon Jones. Yes.
They're phenomenal. I've seen them at the St. Clairsville Amphitheater. And then T-Bone, I mean, he fixes my guitar for me when I accidentally break it.
Oh, yeah.
So
when you smash it at the end of the set,
yeah,
It is cool because like even when I just need one pack of strings, I love driving up there. Just think like, who's working today? Y'all see like T-Bone or like shout out like Kevin Brosh. They'll come up and be like, where are you guys gigging? Coming up, yeah.
And that's the thing, and we've discussed that this valley is really strong with helping each other out.
Yes.
Nobody's trying to, you're gonna have one or two that, if you're not supporting them 100%, then they're not gonna give you anything back, and it's just you want to see everybody thrive. Like I said, if we had something, we had a gig, and we're playing, and then say boom, you took off to Nashville. Hot damn, good for him. Congratulations, man. We got to take a trip, go down and see him. That's what you do. And that's, I found out down in this valley that's huge. And I think, Tim said it best. He said, you can either be cool or not be cool. And then when you're not cool, nobody's got your six. So it's good to see the support here for,
And it's good to see like the new generation of musicians that are like Josh
I was just gonna
Sokolowski,
say,
Nick Ebert, like just people that are involved in music, just starting out, just like let's do this as a community.
Now, so another way that I kind of got my foot in the door was people letting me on stage with them.
Right.
So anytime I find Nick or Josh out just around doing stuff, I try to, I mean, sometimes they don't want to, but I'm like, man, you got to get up here and sing. You got to, because it helps you get booked.
Yeah.
Get up, sing, have a good time. And I want to start with the band. I would like to start bringing an opener. I'd like to have Josh come with us and play
Yeah.
a 30 to an hour acoustic set before we play, because that just helps him out, and he might
Right.
find a group of people that are like minded. He can have his own band, so
Right.
it just cascades into more stuff.
Yeah, we opened for him with a 2x4s. It was at Martins Ferry Fall Fest.
Yeah.
It was funny because Nick even came up on stage with his like 10-gallon cowboy hat, was singing Alabama with us.
There you go.
But we had our system, and we told Josh, we'll just hang out, run it, and then you can plug in. But we found out he lives like 2 houses down. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like they were like, "Hey, do you mind if he just absolutely stay there for a little bit longer and support him, help him out." The only thing though, we left our equipment. Josh is up there. He's playing great,
oh my,
and then there was these two little. I don't want to say little. They were old enough to know better, and I don't know where their parents were to definitely know better. He's up there playing. They're running around like. I looked at Razor. I'm like, one of these little kids knocks over something of mine, I'm gonna catch a charge.
and God bless Josh. I mean, he wasn't yelling. He was just trying to do his set. As they
Yeah.
were like a foot away from him, just waving their hands in front of his face. And he handled
He
it.
did, yeah, because he was like, "Okay, what song do you guys want to sing?" And
yeah.
I think the one gave a Dr. Dre song or something.
Yeah.
What are you doing? But yeah, no, that's it, man. So help everybody out, and it's big in a high valley, and it's good to see. So
You guys want to do another question?
yeah,
Why not?
You had one from Tim in Wintersville.
yeah. Tim P in Wintersville asked. Let me pull it up here. Sorry about this. Dead time. Talk amongst yourselves.
Magic of editing.
Rotate.
Okay. If you had the chance to go back in time, name your top 5 bands that you would want to see. Could be for any reason. You may never have seen them, or you may not have seen the original lineup, or they're gone. So, off the top of your head, 5 bands. Time travel isn't an issue. Who would you want to see?
Number 5, Chet Atkins for me.
Chet Atkins.
I want to go see him. I mean, when you're talking about cornerstones for country music, he's one of them. So being able to see him back in his heyday would be amazing. Chet, then Hank Sr. I love Hank Sr. songs. I sing Hank Sr. songs out live all the time.
Yeah.
They're great. And but then like I'm a huge. Not a lot of people know that I'm a huge rock fan too. Like when we play rock and blues, of course. When we play Stevie Ray Vaughan, we play AC/DC, we play all these things.
Yeah.
I love that music, so I'd love to see Stevie Ray Vaughan and then Pearl Jam, and then my number 1 of all time would have to be it's really teeter-totter between Merle Haggard and George Strait.
Okay.
I don't know which one. If I could see them both, I would. But it's like they're both great. You know what I'm saying? And
I
it's
know a
hard to
couple
pick.
people that saw George at Ohio Stadium just recently, and they said he's what?
Yeah. Matt told me he's like he didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, just out there for 2.5 hours, just rocking it. Like, God bless him, man. That's just fantastic. What about you? I know one of them is going to be AC/DC.
Always and forever. And I never got to see him because right before Axl took over singing for a little bit, there was tickets to one of their shows. It would have been with not the original line because Bon Scott's not there, but with Brian Johnson and Malcolm was still there. It was in Columbus, and I think Brian Johnson started having hearing issues, and that was my one chance that I could see him, and then they had to cancel the tour, so I never really got to see that. I'll go AC/DC, Waylon Jennings.
Yeah.
Just, I think to be in the crowd, like, when he's going, like, ain't living long like this, I think that'd be wild. I would go Doors, Zeppelin, and it'd be a toss-up between maybe Hendrix or like Jeff Beck, somebody to
Yeah.
just to like I could listen to their solos,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
that's
mhm.
like with Jimi Hendrix. I never really try to learn a Jimi Hendrix song because I want it to be like a mystery to me still.
Mhm.
Because like a lot of times, like you hear a song like, "Oh, I'm gonna learn that," then you get all the basics down. It's like, oh, that wasn't as like like complicated as I thought and stuff.
Yeah,
But
it kind of loses the special
yeah, so
effect. Yeah.
I try to stay away from Jimi Hendrix songs just so it can always be like a mystery to me.
And what's funny is you said Jeff Beck, and I think John Bon Jovi was on Howard Stern, and he said real quick, "Who's the best guitar player you have ever seen?" And without missing a beat, he said Jeff Beck.
Hmm.
You're like, wow. And he said just the sounds that he made out of that guitar was just. And the other good thing about this question is like we got three different generations. You're in your
Yeah.
30s,
Hmm.
20, I'm 50, and it's just across the board. My first one would be Queen. I just want to see.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Freddie Mercury's chops were just, that's just too much. Then I'd probably have to, and I was fortunate enough, like I said, we're my age. I saw the original lineup of Kiss. I've seen the original lineup of Pink Floyd. I've seen the original lineup of Aerosmith. I saw the original lineup of Guns N' Roses. I've seen Metallica because when I was growing up, you could see all those big bands that like now it'd be like I saw Motley Crue when Vince Neil knew the words. So,
Yeah.
but I would like to see. I'd like to see the original Boston. I think they just had a great sound. Absolutely, Stevie Ray Vaughan. He's just. I would just love to see that. And then, what that gives me three, right?
Yeah.
Four.
Four. Yeah.
Then I probably would have to. I probably would say the original Chicago lineup. That
Okay.
horn section
Yeah.
and just it was just they really I have some of their original stuff on vinyl and it's great to listen to, but yeah, there you could go 10 artists deep on this,
Right. Yeah.
and I'm sure we'll get people texting, why did you say this, why did you say that? Well, that would be your choice, not but and that's what we want to encourage people to comment and say, hey man, what about this, or and like you said, the same thing. I'd love to see, like you said, Waylon Jennings. Actually, the Highwaymen. That would
Oh
be
yeah. Yeah.
There
fantastic
you
to
go.
see those
Yeah.
guys. So, yeah. But
Going back to you liking to play rock, we have a rock song that we recently added to the set. I won't say the name of it, but I am super excited to play it. I'm sure you know which one it is.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
I cannot wait to bust that out tomorrow.
I think I didn't make the set list with it as the lead off song, but
Uh-huh.
for once again, I guess a shameless plug. We're at Ogilvy Fest this year, so I'm definitely thinking about that being the lead song for Ogilvy
Yeah.
Fest. It just a lot of energy to that, a lot of energy to that song.
it's yeah. And then we play 2x4s or at the Barton Trap this Saturday from 8 to 11.
Yeah, come be a rock star.
Shameless plug. Plug that. What else you got coming up?
Yeah, so yeah, like we said, tomorrow is Toe Tap and Tuesday at Wheeling Park. I think we're a 7 p.m. start, right?
Yeah, 7 p.m.
Yep, 7 p.m. start. It's a 2 hour show,
Mm-hmm.
so no breaks. We'll just play right through. Of course, we'll take any requests. Friday is Riverside, Powhatan. That is going to be, I think, another 7 o'clock start. Let me go here. I got it all up on my Google charts or whatever you call it. The 28th is the Alpha Tavern. 29th is 19th Hole. The 30th is the Wheeling Park again, actually. We're at the band there again.
Is that the amphitheater?
It might be the amphitheater. I'm not very sure, but that's my gigs through the rest of the month.
Nice. Yeah.
We'll figure out where it is. We figured out where we're playing tomorrow today.
Yeah, we did.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, it's good to see that you're out there and you're just hitting it every chance you get, and
If
it's
I could play five a week, I'd play five. If I play 7 a week, I'd play 7.
yeah.
There's just not too many people that want music on Mondays.
Has there been a point where you played so many days in a row where you thought like this is like my voice is starting to get affected by it?
I see it almost as like a form of practice or a way to get better, almost. I
Yeah.
guess. My heaviest gig week of this summer so far was 6 days, I think.
Okay.
It was,
Jeez.
but it wasn't like a. It was like a weird. It was like started on Thursday and then went to like, well, it would be Wednesday, and there was a lot of private parties in there, of course, but it's good conditioning for your vocal cords,
Yeah.
and then I get that one day off, and I'm just like, finally. But then I'm like, when's my next gig? I always,
Yeah.
the Monday after playing the weekend, I'm always like, where am I at next weekend? I want to go
Yeah.
play. I want to go play right now.
Right.
So.
And I know we did that. We did that benefit last year, and you and Wyatt were playing, and Razor and I jumped up and did. Devil Went Down to Georgia.
That was a
Yeah.
fun gig. Yeah.
That was so much fun. I just had one song, but it was just, and on a whim too. You were like,
Yeah.
"Hey, what do you want to do?" And Devil Went Down to Georgia, and I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." So it turned out great. It was fun, man. I had a blast with that. So
That's probably my favorite point in our set right now is when I think we get done with some song in D minor, and then all of us are just kind of scraping our picks against the string. Wyatt's just scraping his bow across the violin. You know it's coming. You just wait for dun 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 dun, and then it goes right into it. I love it.
yeah,
The last three songs. I mean, I guess it's not even a secret anymore. The last three songs, they just flow into each other, and I like
Yeah.
having it like that. And
Yeah.
I'm starting to build. I'm starting to see like you build a set, put 5 songs the same key back to back to back. You don't really got to take time. If somebody plays the hook and you know where you're at, just start playing.
right.
You know, and it goes better for having fluidity through the show. A lot of downtime is not great for shows.
Yeah.
No, that like I said, that's where like especially for our 2x4 thing, because we'll play a song, people are having fun, then the next person, okay, they're coming up, and then Amy will tell us it's this song, and then we're quickly pulling it up on the iPad. Okay, we got sheet music. All right, are you ready? And then go. And I mean, I think we keep it moving fairly quickly, but I know like playing for other bands where like they'll do a song, and then you wait, and you're just kind of talking to get some filler. I love that, just one right out, just keep it going, just keep it, like you said, keep the fluid moving. So
And plus, if like say you're at a steak fry where like the sound is not really surround, if you have a lot of downtime where people are telling stories, a lot of times they might like towards the back they might not hear anything but mumbling. You know what I mean? They can't even hear what you're trying to get out.
It keeps it interesting, and I know that for the first couple years, I had a lot of downtime. I was new to it, but when everything starts moving in a fluid motion, it's great. I'm putting down. I think I'm for the most part putting down the acoustic guitar during band shows now, because I mean you can make a Telecaster sound like an acoustic.
yeah,
That's easy to do. So anytime we're just
I'm very, very excited to see you with the Telecaster, just because like the new set list, we have some Paisley songs in there.
yeah,
And like, well, Paisley will play with that G bender. It seems like he's just flying down the strings, but yeah, the type of solos to imagine like it's going to have an actual Telecaster behind us. It's going to be good.
the one song that we added that. I mean, just butting my head against a brick wall for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. I was like, how does he play this?
Yeah,
Of course, he played it with a G bender, but I was like, I can get something close to it.
yeah,
And I have something pretty close to it right now, but I don't think my fingers move that fast.
yeah.
So
no, congrats, thanks for coming on, man.
thanks for having
It's
me. A lot of fun.
it's fun to see you out there playing, and I know we'll be out there tomorrow night to watch you. I know he'll be there, but yeah, we're gonna come down and check you out. And like I said, I enjoy watching you play, and it's nice to see you getting this following and taking off, man. It's fun to watch you. It really is. So
It's a lot of fun. I really appreciate all the people around the valley just coming out and supporting, and I'm more than happy to play, requests for anybody that asks requests. If you want to hear original music, I got too much original music, I guess. I'll play